The investments that we've been able to make in facilities at Augustana College have created the environments so that great learning experiences can happen inside them. Probably the largest single impact of the facility investment that we will make from the Momentum Augustana campaign is the Froilan Science Complex. There, what we're doing is taking an old facility and to create brand new space within the new construction we will do and the renovation of the existing space to create 125,000 square feet of brand new state-of-the-art science learning opportunities. The Froilan Complex is happening in part because of the generosity of two special families. Of course it's happening because of the generosity of so many investors. But there are two that really made a huge impact for us, and that is Jim and Eloise Ellman. And of course, Jim is no longer with us anymore. Jim's son, Richard, was key to working with his mom and the two of them in the discussion with us to make an impactful gift to support this project. And they really wanted to do this, and they wanted to find the way to make a gift to us to really make this happen. And so it was really a joy to work with Richard and Eloise and to see their joy in making this investment. Bob and Rita Ellman, similarly, people who have invested in Augustana before, the whole Ellman family has before, but Bob and Rita, again, wanted to do something impactful that would really change the future for Sioux Falls and for Augustana and for all the students that will come here. They made significant investments in this project that enabled us to really leap forward in exciting ways and reach toward that ultimate goal of our fundraising objective. Without them, it would have been a lot harder to get there. And so they made us take big steps forward. And so we really appreciate their generosity.
This new facility is changing the way we look at classrooms, changing the way we look at interactions with students, changing the opportunities for more and more of our students to engage in faculty and student research, to be in simulation labs, to really engage with learning in a new way that's going to prepare them for the professions of the future.
So one of the features about the design is that when you're walking through the building, you should be able to see in many of the classrooms and many of the labs, right? And so a visitor or a prospective student or even another student on campus that hasn't taken their science class yet can walk through and see what the science students are doing and what might be interesting for them.
One of the intriguing notions of this facility is that we're going to name it for a faculty member. It was the institutional decision to say, we want to start out with the notion that we're going to honor a person who drove the sciences forward at Augustana in very important ways in our history. Without Sven Froiland, we would not have the reputation that we have, the programs that we have, the research that we have at Augustana today. And this all happened 50 years ago. He was a driving force behind the design of the Gilbert Science Center. He was a driving force behind the way we teach and the way we research and the way we learn at Augustana.
I had a couple classes from him, and his impact was beyond just teaching, and it was beyond knowing you. It was to know you enough and teach you enough to help you guide your way, or he would help you guide the way to what your goals were. And it wasn't just a simple in class, back out of class, high in the hallways. When he talked to you, it meant something.
As we thought about our gift to the college and how thankful we are and what a blessing it is that so many in my family who have had close ties to the college have benefited from the education they've got here. It has made us think of my parents who neither of them graduated from this place. But they love the college. So in thinking about a naming opportunity, we're sitting in a room that's right now Gilbert 100, and in the new design for the new building, it's going to be a multi-purpose room that's going to be bringing in large crowds, big crowds, people from all aspects of the natural science building and beyond, and that's what my family represents. It represents the chemistry major, the biology majors, the nursing majors, the non-science majors. With the naming opportunity given us, we've decided that we would love to name this new space the Mickelson Family area in honor of Mom and Dad, Herb and Dorothy Mickelson.
Who are avid Augie fans. They've done everything they can do to support.
I think that right now you've got this high-level research and this high level of teaching and classroom interactions going on in this building that doesn't really represent exactly what's happening inside of it.
One of the outcomes of an investment in a new facility like the Fraulein Science Complex is that it enables us to do more with partners outside of the institution.
I see some of the collaborating that the college has done in recent years is really the future. And certainly with the science building, the collaboration with Sanford Health, but I'm thinking of with the business community, in the sports, in the athletics. I think that's really exciting. And that takes some visionary thinking. And I mean, I would certainly hope and trust that future leaders of the college will be thinking about that, because I think that's what makes this campus so unique, not only in this city, but in this entire region.
Of course, one of our major donors in the Momentum Augustana campaign was a good friend, a longtime friend, and that's Sanford Health. Not only do they support facilities, but that's really not what's important to them. What's more important is the programs that are happening here. And so they have invested in our athletic training programs. One of the real exciting new investments is in the genetics that they are doing and the Imagenetics program that they are building at Sanford, and they've invited us to be participants in that.
The experiences I had, even 15 years ago, the exposure I had to Sanford Health, the exposure I had to some of the things that I did in this community I wouldn't have had in other communities in South Dakota or in the region. And I think at Augustana, that's a unique advantage, that to be just down the street from the state's largest employers and the state's largest economic engines, you're going to have opportunities other kids don't. When Augustana kids do get a chance, they perform well. I think if you're a business leader or a community leader, you're going to continue to go back to the well that produces good talent.
Our library was reaching a point where it really wasn't the learning environment that it needed to be. And technology and other things had passed by the physical space that we had. So to be able to refresh that space and basically create a brand new building inside those four walls was so important, because now we have a really robust learning environment for students and for faculty and staff. And what resulted from that gift and the renovations of our library is the usage went up dramatically. And all of a sudden we're finding students who want to spend time in that space because it's a great environment for learning and growing.
Our goal in renovating was to, first of all, do no harm in terms of the things that were wonderful about the facility that we had. And students study here all day long, and at nighttime it twinkles like stars. So we wanted to make sure that we kept lots of natural light. But then the other things that we really looked at were space for students to study both privately and then in groups. The anonymous gift that the library was given was one of those things that happens that simply just takes your dream and turns it into reality literally overnight.
One of the great joys of this campaign was a gift that carries no name at all. By the donor's request, they asked that we celebrate the true source of this gift, and that's God and the blessings that they have received in their lives that enabled them to make this gift. And so the plaque on the entrance to the library reads, Soli Deo Gloria, to God alone the glory. And that was their request. And I think that's really special for these people to know that they were making such an impactful gift to Augustana College, and they wanted to give the glory to God. That's really a warm, heartwarming story, and should make us all feel really good. And again, it underscores, I think, that notion that God is the source of generosity and love in our world. And God is the one who moves the hearts of donors and encourages them to share their blessings. That's a really neat thing.
For me, the beauty of this library, and it's enhanced by art. So it's not only books, but it's art. And so you come in and you sit down, and it's a place where you have the quiet, and yet you are surrounded by beauty as well as knowledge. And I think that's been enhanced tremendously through the gifts.
There are two facilities in our campus that are not by accident located right in the middle. One of those is the chapel. And that's where we celebrate the blessings and the root of Augustana, for one thing. I mean, Augustana was formed by the church. But moreover, it's where we celebrate Jesus Christ, and we celebrate our Savior and the gift of grace that was given to us. And that gift that frees us then to explore all of God's creation. And that happens in the library, is that the library is full of information about God's creation. And so, isn't it interesting that the chapel, where we celebrate the gifts that God has given us and the freedom that we have to explore them, and we can go right next door, or we can go to the other academic buildings and ask questions about God's creation. I think that's a really interesting and impactful and incredibly thoughtful design, that those facilities are there at the heart of the campus. Clearly, a library is the heart of any academic enterprise because it's a physical presence of knowledge. And to have that juxtaposition with the chapel is really something special about Augustana College.
I think maybe you just feel smarter in a library. But there again, I'm for the paper, I'm for the feel of it all too. I've loved libraries since I've been very small. Most people who read, love libraries. And sometimes people think, well, they're on the wane, but it isn't true here. And it isn't true because you see how the students use it. This is the pulse of the campus.
Well, partly because my family has been a family of readers, and I've heard that from my mother way back when my brother and I were growing up. As our kids were growing up, they also were very active as far as reading is concerned. And as time wore on, the girls went to Augustana. In talking to them, they always joshed and kidded about the orange carpet in the library. I guess I heard them talk about the library more than anything. We were very impressed with the education, the well-rounded education that our daughters received at Augustana. And when the library project became a reality and was moving on, it gave us, great satisfaction to be a part of that. It just left us with a good feeling knowing that we could do that, and I still have that today.
It's nice to have a lot of spaces to go, whether it's in a cubicle, sitting at a table, or the rooms where you can do group projects. And I mean, I've utilized the library a lot over my 4 years, and then it's also a good way to connect with some people too on your passing by, and I mean, you gotta have a little social time in the library, so.
It's incredible to have an updated library. I know when I was touring colleges that some of the libraries were not the nicest, and Augie's was just incredible. I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, I can just see myself studying here all the time. We've got the fireplace. That's probably my favorite place to sit, is by the fireplace on the first floor. And just having all the different availability with like the media services, you can rent out like equipment and they'll teach you how to use it. It's so easy to be there, and they just make it a really great experience. And having those study rooms is just awesome.
Over the past 7 years, we've added a lot of great facilities here in athletics. Began with the Hall football complex, the Sanford practice gym, went on into Kirkaby-Over Stadium. We also added the Huther Tennis Center, Morstead Soccer Field, and did the renovation of what's now Karis Park at Ronkenfield. The thing that is so special to me when I go to one of our facilities now on campus, and we're getting ready for the event to start, and you look across campus or you look out and you see fans coming. You see the students coming across. Then you talk to people about their pride in our facilities, and they're proud to be an alum of Augustana. They're proud to be associated. And that's something that's special and helps to sell young people on coming to Augustana.
The fact that donors have been willing to really transform the campus in many places is just a tremendous gift.
You look at what these individuals have done. They put their thumbprint on generations for student athletes to utilize these facilities, resources.
And it's so much fun to see the team come out on game day or any other time and to see the bust of Bob that's down here in the entryway, and to have them touch his head or to have them use him as a good luck charm is really something that's special for Augustana football.
The game day experience of football is so fun, and so fun for our family and our friends, and we've brought friends from other cities who have never been here before who just think it's an incredible place, and our kids love Viking Land before games, and it's fun. It's a new highlight to our fall.
I look at Kirkaby-Over Stadium as such an important investment in community. Yes, there are 100 young men that are part of the football team. And they put on the Augustana colors to represent our institution each week when they play. And they carry our brand across their chests with pride. But if you look in the stands, there's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people there celebrating Augustana. It's a celebration of community, and it's a celebration of Augustana.
Really, it gives us an opportunity to recruit and retain the best and the brightest, both athletically, academically, and socially, and long into the future for generations.
Kirkaby-Over Stadium is actually the third stadium on this campus. We had two before, but there was a gap for 40 years where we played just miles away from campus in a community facility at Howard Wood Field, which is a great facility, and there are many memories there. But it's not the same as game day on our campus, where everyone flows across the street and we fill up our stadium with our community and we celebrate being at home. I think the importance of having a home field is much more than a game. It's all about community.
As Bob always puts it, it's for the kids. And I think that the special feeling they have about the students and the student athletes motivates them to provide generous gifts to make things better.
Bob and Kari Hall are incredible examples of generosity. These are two people who live fairly simply and yet give so much, not just to Augustana, but to other causes as well. And so when asked to do this, Bob's response was really simple. It's for the kids. It's for them. And so these two people were able to give generously to make this all happen. And then they turned it to honor her parents. And that's who Kirkaby and Over were. They were Kari's parents. And I think that's just so cool that they did this not to honor themselves, but rather to honor their parents. The tennis courts are an example of a facility that was really aged and not, it was a place that we weren't very proud of. And it wasn't getting much use. The gift that started that from the Huther family that allowed us to invest and create this little jewel on the corner of our campus that's lit up at night now with bright colors and excitement, that calls people out into the outside and out onto the courts to play.
You've got these student athletes that you got to tip your hat off to them because they're putting in so much time both on the court and in the classroom and all these things. And when you're able to see them succeed, it's kind of like all of Augie's succeeding.
Here we have our new soccer field, and the Morstead family were not soccer players, but they saw the benefit of supporting this activity for these young women to say, you know, soccer is an important part of their learning environment at Augustana. And so the Morstead gift allowed us to name that facility to honor them and their stories at Augustana, but at the same time support our soccer team and now give them a place at home.
Mr. Morstead and Mrs. Morstead, they're awesome. They come to our games and support us, and whenever he's on the bench, we always make sure and say hi and thank him for coming, because we are so fortunate to have that field, and all of his funds that he has contributed to the soccer program has helped us. Otherwise we wouldn't have a field here. And so, yeah, definitely just a big thank you to them.
You drive up and you've got soccer at home now, you know, and our soccer team's having an amazing season. I think how great for them to be playing at Augustana on campus, not having to travel for practice and being right there. And again, people drive by and they're like, this is Augustana in action.
I believe that if we are going to sponsor an activity for our students, that we need to do that in a quality way. We need to do it in the Augustana way. So it's not halfway. We're trying to give them the best opportunity to learn the most, to grow the most, to experience the most while they're here. Our new baseball venue, there's a reason they call it a baseball park, and that is a ballpark, and it's a beautiful place to go on a sunny afternoon and watch a baseball game and watch, again, these young men out there participating on behalf of Augustana College.
You want to bring your mom and dad and show them Augustana. You want to bring your friends from other colleges and show them Augustana and show them, you know, not what they're missing out on, but just what you have and how fortunate you are. You really want to show it off and show that you're in a great place and that you're doing really well because you've got these great things that are happening on your campus.
iStock Audio.